Like I was giving you the example of patience in the start. A tree starts from a small seed, right? We wait for a tree to exist before we can plant it. No, you start with a small seed, water it, allow it to grow, nurture it, let it compound and grow over time. It's amazing because I was reading the statistic that so many forests have been created by squirrels hiding their nuts that they've forgotten about. And we are exactly like that. We want to hoard everything without focus.
In the field that I'm in and with the work that I do, it's always one thing after the other, faster, heavier, better, that I a lot of times forget to be present.
Hello and welcome to the Compounding Mindset by AxisMutualFund. I'm Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach, and with me I have Paridhi, our fitness coach. All right, Paridhi. I believe that each year we need to have one word that defines our year, our intention for the year. Do you have a one word intention for this year?
I do, because funny story, at the first day of this year, 1st of Jan, I actually went for my first ever yoga practice.
Wow.
And before that practice started, once we finished our normal warm-up, the person who was leading the practice, a very dear friend of mine, she actually asked everybody present to set an intention for the rest of the year. And my intention and the word that I chose for the rest of the year was to be present.
Present. What a lovely one.
Because I feel in the field that I'm in and with the work that I do, it's always one thing after the other, faster, heavier, better, that I a lot of times forget to be present. And that's an intention word, and that's a word that I write every single morning.
Amazing.
I will try to be present.
In this moment, in this deadlift, in this time.
Exactly, just one rep at a time, no thinking about the rest of the workout, just one session at a time, so I can actually be completely present with my client, and one class at a time.
Beautiful.
What's the word that you chose, Ashdin?
So for me, the word is patience. Because I realized that, we are living in this life where we want everything right now, super fast, right? Overnight delivery. Forget overnight delivery, 6-minute delivery. We want everything to happen immediately. And I realized that the quality of something comes from the time that it takes for it to grow. So for example, I was in the forest and I saw these beautiful trees, and I realized that these trees didn't happen overnight. Some of them were 150 years old, 200 years old. And that's when I realized that if I want to create something beautiful, strong, long lasting, I need to have that time frame for it to become. And that's the reason patience became something I want as my intention for this year. And I think the reason why I asked you this question is because these intentions are so important, especially with the topics that we have for today's podcast. And patience is such an interesting word that exists for us today.
And I think patience has so many benefits to reap, as you said, over a period of time. A lot of times, clients walk in with having 10 different goals, which want to be achieved in a 12-session timeline, and all of those goals are competing with each other. Not only do I want to lose weight, but I also want to gain muscle, and I also want to run faster, but I don't want to lean out. I'm like, okay, this is a lot together all at once, which really cannot happen. And this needs to be broken down into goals which are actually aligning with you in that moment, right? Because if that doesn't happen, you're literally trying to do everything resulting into nothing.
Correct. You cannot focus on so much. You need to give your attention on one thing completely and allow it to grow. As human beings, I think we're like little squirrels. You see these squirrels, they are forever wanting to hoard all the nuts together, as many nuts. And it's amazing because I was reading the statistic that so many forests have been created by squirrels hiding their nuts that they've forgotten about. And we are exactly like that. We want to hoard everything without focus. So imagine if we realize that we can achieve a lot more by focusing on something small and not having this, everything or nothing kind of mindset that we have. Paridhi, when people come to you with this mindset, that I want to max my deadlift, max my squat and run, etc., how do you explain to them and how do you make them choose where they need to focus on?
Choosing what they want to focus on depending upon who it is in front of me, also primarily depends upon what is it that they need the most in that moment. For example, if somebody comes to me with a goal of, okay, I really want to make sure that I'm back squatting very heavy, but I also want to do a 10-kilometer run by the end of the year. And in midst of all of this, they have a terrible knee pain. So the priority at that point of time becomes for me to explain it to them that, hey, for you to reach your goal A and your goal B, there is this tiny hurdle that you have in this start, your knee. So how about we fix that? And once you start doing that, automatically the squats become better. Automatically they start gaining a tiny capacity to be able to run. So I feel explaining that to them becomes extremely important, and then letting them explore. Because if you don't give them that tactile version of exploring, they won't really buy into the process. And they would be like, yeah, but it's just all the same. So unless they have that very tangible result of, oh wow, I climbed up this flight of stairs and I didn't even think twice about the fact that my knee hurt. And I had one such client come in where she had a really bad sciatica pain, and she also wanted to lift heavy. But every single time she traveled, because of the way her pain was, she would sit on the flight, get off that flight, and everything in her back would start hurting. Where we just started basic strengthening, she became super strong along the way, and suddenly we weren't even having conversations about how it is okay for her to travel without any pain.
Correct.
So I think those small tiny steps in both in terms of explaining, exploring, and then watching them see the results of it, watching the results compound over time, I think they start buying into that process, and that is what helps them continue to it and reach the goals that they have.
The reason why I find your example so beautiful is that it was that one choice of let's focus on the knee pain that actually compounded their result over the rest of the kind of lifts or exercise that they could do. If you had just said that we'd focus only on the running, it would not have made a difference in the others. But you found that one particular or that smallest component, because your knee pain is a pivotal point, but it's not necessarily something that is building muscles, etc. That one small thing compounded everything else. And I strongly urge people to find that aspect when it comes to their financial health as well. Very often what we do is we say, I will wait to accumulate so much money that then I can invest it all at once. And the danger with that is that you've been out of the market so long, all that time that you were accumulating this money for was time that was wasted. Instead, it could have been in the market and it could have started compounding. That small amount of money that you had put in would have still compounded till the time you were ready or you had accumulated everything. So I keep telling people, when it comes to, financial aspects of your financial health, start small. Whatever you have, start putting that into your investments. Create your SIPs, create your systematic investment plans where money constantly goes inside without you thinking about it. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Like I was giving you the example of patience in the start. A tree starts from a small seed, right? We wait for a tree to exist before we can plant it. No, you start with a small seed. Water it, allow it to grow, nurture it, let it compound and grow over time.
And what's really beautiful across the point that we've just tried to speak on was the fact that it has to be small. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be everything that you've gotten. And it has to be consistent. Because I feel every time we start, stop, and that fidgeting, be like, okay, I don't think right now is the right time. And it happens so many times, right? People come in, again, example of an injury. They'd be like, okay, let me wait for this injury to settle. But an injury does not settle until you work on it.
Yes.
Same, right? Okay, let me wait till I have all of this money saved. But money saves if you start saving. It's always that small things and doing it consistently across the good and the bad. If you have an injury, train across it. If you have lesser money to invest in this month, invest the lesser sum. It doesn't have to be the same thing. Once you find the workarounds, but still continue to do the small basic thing, you watch it compound. Be it your health, be it your injuries becoming better, or be it your finances and wealth.
Yes. Like you rightly said, the problem with waiting till you have enough money is you're creating multiple goals and multiple tripping points. What is the first tripping point? That you first have to be able to save that money. right? Oh, how often do we say, when I have enough money, I will invest, when I can save? But that takes too long. Instead, you have to make it the default choice. So you remove that goal of saving. It's almost by default that money goes, and you have one less thing to worry about. And the other thing, Paridhi, when it comes to our financial well-being, I'm sure you tell people that whether you're in a good mood or bad mood or whatever mood, you still go and train, you work out, you keep that consistency going. When it comes to our financial world, what do we do? Oh, it depends on what the markets are like, etc., etc. Markets will go up, markets will go down. It's a part of the market cycle. You have to be present in it. And I think this whole idea of your SIPs is so beautiful because you're constantly in the market. You're not dependent on your mood.
Correct.
Right? And we keep saying the best performers in the world are not mood based, they are systems based.
Correct.
You can't be mood based when you want to be a high performer, when you want to grow, when you want to evolve, especially when you want to compound.
Ashdin, can you explain what mood-based and system-based performers would look like?
Okay, lovely. So, especially from a habit point of view, very often people come to me and say, I want to do this, I wish I can do this. And then when you look at their consistency, you'll notice that for a short period of time, they're very consistent. And then for another short period of time, they're inconsistent. And when you deep dive into it, you suddenly realize that for the time that they were consistent, things were going well in their life. But we know that not everything goes well in our life. Sometimes we have lows as well. Sometimes we're not necessarily feeling well, or somebody in our family is not well, etc. And our mood goes for a toss. So during that time as well, the people who could still perform and do well had something else apart from mood. They had created enough systems around them. So let me explain. Imagine you wake up in the morning and say, oh, you know what, today I don't feel like going to the gym. Or you know what, today it's raining outside and I want to be cuddled up in bed. And imagine if you keep doing that over and over and over again, you will notice that the outcome, especially from a performance point of view in the gym, deteriorates completely.
Correct.
The same thing happens even with creative people. I've noticed this with creative people. Oh, I have to be in the right mood to be creative. No, the best creators are actually system-oriented creators. Like, I'm an author and I studied some of the greatest authors in the world, and every single author said this. You have to sit down and set a goal every single day that you write for. It can be rubbish that you write, you can throw it away, but you have to put in that effort. It doesn't matter whether you're having a good day or a bad day. So that's how I took it to heart. I set a goal every day, 750 words is what I would write. I created that system. And as a result, I have 4 bestseller books. The idea is that you have to put in that system on how you're going to perform and have that mindset. It doesn't matter whether today was a good day or a bad day. Was there a heat wave going on like we have currently? Or was it something that was amazing and I just finished a fantastic event and I'm feeling on a high? All of that doesn't matter. You need to just put in that effort. In the same way with our finances, the savings have to happen on a systematic basis, the investments have to happen on a systematic basis. And you remove mood from the equation. Remove the fear of the market from the equation. You remove what people are saying and whispering in your ear from this equation, and you just follow the system that you have in mind. So there are 3 critical signs for a mood-based performer. 1, you'll see inconsistencies in the performance. The second thing is this go big or go home kind of attitude. And the third one, and this is the hardest to understand, is that very often they will not be at the top of their game. They won't be the best people in that particular field. When it comes to system-based, you'll notice that they track their progress. You'll notice that they have changed the environment around so that the system works. And the third one, exact opposite of the other, is that they are the high performers in their field. Every time I get invited to talk at schools and people ask me, sir, how do I become a top performer in my school? I say, look at what the top performers are doing and follow their systems and processes. And that's how you can do it yourself. Paridhi, I'm sure you see these mood-based and system-based people in your gym as well, or athletes that you train. Can you give me some examples of this?
I think everybody who steps in mostly comes from a mood-based performer. And I feel we try to make that switch in helping them set up systems. A lot of system-based performers are also personality-driven, and I think the biggest part of the personality or their life is accountability. And when you outsource that accountability, I think that's where the game changes. For example, if you have set up one certain time of training, not only in the gym, but for the remainder 3 days as well. So let's say if 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is an hour that you're dedicating for your physical fitness. It could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the gym, but to not break that cycle and have something set for Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday as well. It could just simply be that, okay, wherever it is I am, I'm going to make sure I roll out my mat and I'm going to do 15 minutes of mobility. Or it doesn't matter, but that time is set. So I think one differentiator between the both is that they have a set time to do things.
Lovely.
And that takes the emotions out of the equation. That also conditions their body to automatically feel like, okay, this is my working out hour. So your body is almost in sync with what happens. It's like if you're a person who sleeps at 9 p.m., your body's automatically going to start yawning at 9 p.m. no matter what hour of the day you've woken up, because now you're just tuned to doing that. Which brings me to my second point. The second systems that they end up setting, mood versus system based, is that they plan their social calendar in a way that they're able to get back at home at a certain time. So they sort of tweak their environments in such a way that the remainder part of the day is not messed up because they have a certain social commitment.
Lovely.
For example, personally, if I have to step out, I will make sure that I go early and I'm not that fashionably late comer to a party. If the party is at 7 o'clock, I'll be there at 7:30 and I'll be tata bye-bye at 8:30. I get to enjoy that, but because I've also set up a system, I can now go back and not let rest of the day get messed up because of it. So the second thing would be they tweak their social calendars, they tweak their social environments to be able to help everything else in their thing. And the third thing is they also set up people in circles that sort of help them achieve that. It could as simply be you end up making friends at the gym, and that same friends you also meet outside because your thought processes align, because your activities align, and hence as a result of that there are less disruptions. So a mood-based performer would normally not want to do those things, would not want to maybe exchange words, thoughts, processes with other people that don't align with them. They'd be like, maybe I want to do this, maybe I don't want to do this, but they're not open to exploring as much. I think a system-based performer would be like, you and I do the same thing, maybe let's go explore this. Because they know that it's only going to help them further.
And I think a mood-based performer also will get influenced too much by
Exactly.
what people around are saying.
Yeah.
And that is where their highs and lows come in, their all or nothing attitude comes into it, saying, I have to do this or I should not be doing this.
And another thing that I always see is chasing a dopamine hit, which is a very big difference between a mood-based performer and a systematic performer, because a person who believes in systems and has set systems knows that they have to be patient with it.
Correct.
A simple thing is you got to back squat for 4 weeks to see it become better. You can't be back squatting, lunging, this, that, 5 other things are happening, no routine in what you're doing. So they have an immense amount of patience, an immense amount of ability to just be okay with the mundane. The major difference between mood-based performers and system-based performers would be this, that they don't chase a constant dopamine hit, that they're able to embrace the mundane, do the same thing over and over again, not go through the highs and the lows, and as a result of which they're able to see the compounding effect over time because they were patient enough with the process.
Correct. They're not searching for something new constantly.
In the same way that we want to handle our finances as well, not wanting to remove it from one fund, put it into another fund, break our SIPs over time because, somebody else is saying something and that looks a little bit more exciting. They know that they need to embrace the slow and the steady path. They need to keep putting their money in every month on month on month. Don't bother what is happening in the market. Just trust the process and you will see it compound over time. So Ashdin, from a habit point of view, how many habits should people be creating at one time at a go?
Okay, I love this. So as a habit coach, when I'm at dinner parties, people come and say, Ashdin, I am creating this habit, and they'll rattle off 12 habits that they're doing at once. And I'll tell them, listen, I know this seems very exciting and it feels very good to think that you're going to make these 12 changes in your life, but it's not going to happen. You have to focus on not more than 3 habits at a time to change. If you do 12, 7, 6, it is too much for your mind to handle and you're just spreading yourself too thin. So, not more than 3 at a time. And I think this is a problem that most of us have, right? We want such a big goal, we want to give it our best, but we don't realize that consistency and compounding is actually where the growth takes place. And focus on 3 things, allow it to compound, and that's the way to take it forward.
So, let us know in the comments below if you are a mood-based performer or a system-based performer. You've been watching The Compounding Mindset by Axis Mutual Fund, and if you like this episode, please don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.